My name is Mark Willis, and I should not be alive to tell you this. On the night of March 12, 2025, inside a dim parking garage on 17th Street in downtown Denver, my heart stopped. One moment I was locking the steel fire door after counting deposits, and the next I was lying flat on concrete colder than ice, staring at the flickering fluorescent lights above me. It wasn't just pain, it was a verdict. A hot spear drove up my chest, across my left shoulder, clamped my jaw shut, and stole the air out of my lungs like someone had padlocked them. My phone slid 6 feet across the oil-stained floor, buzzing once before the screen went black. My pulse? 0. My breath? Gone. I heard nothing, no cars, no footsteps, only the silence of a ledger closing. Final and absolute. If you've ever thought death comes gently, let me tell you, it doesn't. It comes like a thief. Swift, merciless. But in that silence, something else happened. The moment my body failed, my eyes opened to something far more terrifying, far more urgent than the fear of death itself. A vision, a revelation of what is coming after August 25, 2025. And now, against every odd, I'm here to tell you. I'm Mark Willis, 46 years old, born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I don't live in some mansion on the hill. I live in a 3-bedroom house out in the suburbs, about 12 miles west of downtown. Every morning, I drive my silver Ford Escape down I-25, coffee in the cup holder, talk radio humming low, heading into the branch office where I manage accounts and loans. I'm married to Rachel. She's my anchor, the one who reminds me to take out the trash on Tuesday nights and cheers when the Broncos actually manage a win. We've got 2 kids, Maya, 12, who loves softball and sketches superheroes in her spare time, and Ben, 9, who insists he's going to play wide receiver someday even though he's barely 4 feet tall. I'm not the type to make headlines. Neighbors know me as the guy who grills too many burgers at the summer block party. The guy jogging Cherry Creek Trail on Saturday mornings, breathing hard after 2 miles but pushing for 3. My life was numbers, schedules, quarterly goals, reliable, predictable. Church, once or twice a year. Faith, stored away like an old photo album, tucked in the attic. I believed in working hard, paying the mortgage, saving for retirement, keeping my kids safe. Ordinary, solid, at least. That's what I thought, until the night everything cracked open. The day it happened didn't look special at all. March in Denver is messy, half snow, half mud, and that morning was no different. I worked a 10-hour shift at the branch, meetings stacked on top of one another, fraud alerts to clear, 2 angry clients from Aurora breathing down my neck. By the time I finished locking the vault and signing off on deposits, it was nearly 8:45 p.m. Everyone else had gone home. I walked down into the garage, 4 levels below ground. The concrete smelled of oil and old tires, the fluorescent lights buzzing like a swarm of bees. I remember thinking about leftovers waiting in the fridge, Rachel's chili, and maybe sneaking a cold beer before bed. Normal thoughts, harmless. Then it hit, not like a gentle warning. No. It was like someone drove a hot iron spike through my chest. The pain shot across my left shoulder, up my neck, locking my jaw. My vision narrowed until the rows of parked cars blurred into a single tunnel of gray. I dropped my briefcase. It hit the floor with a crack, papers scattering. I staggered forward, 6 feet, maybe 8, trying to reach my phone. But my fingers had turned to stone. My knees buckled. I fell hard, cheek smacking against the cold concrete. I tried to shout, but nothing came. The silence swallowed everything. And then the strangest sensation. The pounding in my chest stopped. And with it, all the terror. For the first time that day, there was no noise, no weight, only stillness, as if time itself had been repossessed. At first there was nothing, just the heavy silence of a garage 4 levels underground. But then, the blackness changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It had weight, like velvet pressing against my skin. And then, it split. A glow appeared at the edge of my vision, faint as dawn through a cracked window. It spread, soft gold bleeding into the dark, until I felt myself being pulled, not falling, not flying, but carried, weightless, like drifting in water without the cold. My chest no longer ached. My arms were no longer heavy. For the first time in years, I felt lighter than air. The sound came next, not sirens, not voices, music, but not the kind you can hum. It was deeper, like the earth itself had found a voice, a harmony that made every nerve in my body tremble. I looked down and gasped. There I was, Mark Willis, lying on concrete, a paramedic kneeling beside me, hands pressing my chest, my own face gray, lips slack, yet I was above it all, suspended in silence and song. Then the tunnel formed, not built of brick or steel, but of light, a corridor stretching forward, its walls alive, shimmering like molten glass. Every step, or was it no steps at all, pulled me closer. Fear should have clenched me, but it didn't. Instead, peace wrapped around me, thick and steady, like a father's hand on his child's shoulder. At the end of that radiant passage stood a valley, rolling hills lit by gold. A river clear as crystal. The air was warm, fragrant like summer rain after a dry spell. And in the center, waiting, stood a figure, bright, majestic, more real than the ground beneath my feet had ever been. And when his eyes turned toward me, I knew exactly who he was. The figure before me was Jesus. There was no mistaking it. His presence filled the valley, brighter than the sun yet soft enough to see without fear. His robe shimmered like woven fire. And when he spoke, his voice carried both thunder and a whisper. "Mark," he said, and my name shook the air like a bell ringing through eternity. After August 25, 2025, everything will accelerate. What has been hidden will be revealed. What has been fragile will be tested. Then the valley shifted. The light peeled back like a curtain, and the earth appeared suspended in the void. At first it looked beautiful, oceans blue, continents green, clouds curling white, but his hand lifted, pointing at a glittering timeline stretching before us. With a single motion, scenes began to unfold. First, I saw storms, walls of water taller than skyscrapers pounding the east coast, while heatwaves seared the Midwest until fields turned to cracked desert. Smoke from wildfires stained the sky crimson. People clung to rooftops, their cries swallowed by the roar. Second, I saw cities unravel, supermarkets emptied, shelves bare, families fought over scraps, borders shut tight while millions wandered roads, carrying children on their shoulders. Neighborhoods once friendly became battlefields. America itself split, race, religion, politics turning neighbor against neighbor. Third, I saw deceivers rise. Leaders with smiles that never touched their eyes promised peace, progress, and a new normal. Their words flowed across glowing screens, polished, persuasive, and poisonous. I watched churches emptied, sanctuaries turned into stages, faith traded for convenience. The true believers, mocked, shunned, yet unbroken. But then, amid the chaos, I saw small lights, humble homes, basements, even campsites by forest roads. Groups of believers prayed, broke bread, read the word aloud. Their light pierced the darkness. Stronger than armies, stronger than lies. Jesus turned to me again. His eyes burned with both sorrow and hope. Tell them, Mark, I am in the storm. They are not alone. Each soul must choose, light or darkness, truth or deception. My love is the only fire that cannot be extinguished. The vision faded like mist burned away by the sun. One moment I was staring into the fire of his eyes. The next I was gasping, lungs on fire, ribs aching as though a truck had rolled over me. I opened my eyes to the blinding white of hospital lights. Rachel's face was the first thing I saw. Tears streaked her cheeks, her hand clutching mine so tightly I could feel the tremor in her bones. "Mark, you're back," she whispered, voice cracking. Behind her, I caught the sound of machines beeping, nurses calling out vitals, a doctor saying the words, Cardiac arrest, 2 minutes flatline. 2 minutes gone. Yet I had seen eternity. My body felt heavy, pinned to the bed by IV lines and monitors. But my soul was lighter than it had ever been. I glanced at Rachel and realized how close she had come to losing me. How close I had come to never holding my kids again. The mark before would have brushed it off, called it stress. Promised to slow down, but never change. The mark lying there now knew better. I had seen the storm. I had seen the choice. And there was no going back. I came back with scars on my chest. But what marked me most was not the defibrillator burns. It was the vision burned into my soul. I know now that life is not guaranteed. One heartbeat, one breath, and everything can change. But I also know this. What I saw was not meant only for me. Jesus made it clear. The storms are coming. Deception is rising. And each of us must choose where we stand. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Faith is not just a Sunday ritual. It's the anchor when the waves rise. It's the light when the world grows dark. I tell you this not as a preacher, not as a prophet, but as a man who lay dead for 2 minutes and saw eternity open before him. I urge you, don't wait until the storm hits to decide. Don't wait until the lights go out to search for the flame. Think about it. Share this with someone you love. And most of all, ask yourself the question I had to face. When the choice comes, light or darkness, truth or deception, what will you choose?